Good afternoon. Welcome everybody to another D-Link webinar on this fine Wednesday afternoon. We're here today to introduce our new on-the-go and work-at-home accessories, which we'll be talking to you about for the next sort of 45 minutes to an hour. We won't keep you too long. With me, as always, we've got Huang here.
Hello.
Who's going to be the sort of product expert for the day, and joining us for a special appearance is Pawan Harish.
Hello there.
Pawan's one of our sales account managers. You'll remember Pawan from the last time we did the VIP Plus update, and he's back to engage us all with his sparkling insight on our new accessories range. So the idea behind D-Link getting into this marketplace is, as it says on the title there, staying connected and empowering your workforce. And while we've long established ourselves in regards to routers, networking products, we're now going to give people the power to be even more connected by providing the power, as it were, for those products, providing the power to keep all of their other products that they're carrying around for their work day with them, and just a few new sort of marketplaces for us to get into. And one of the reasons why is covered on the first slide here. If I can get the presentation to move to the next slide. There we go. Sorry about that. It's not appearing on my main screen there. So in the past few years, especially since the pandemics of 2020, digital nomads have been on the rise, as well as people increasingly working in a home environment, which has led for the need for increased connectivity in all sorts of circumstances. And people now are demanding more and more from their home networks, more and more from their home desks, more and more from being able to stay connected on the go. And that's a marketplace that D-Link is really going to moving into with regards to our 4G and 5G products and that. And now with our new solutions, we're giving you the power to power those. So there's a quick quote in there, which Phil, do you want to just?
I think without reading directly from what you can really see on the screen.
Yes,
just carrying on from what Alan's been saying. I think since the pandemic, we as a company, we've seen a huge growth in 4G, 5G portable routers. Yep. Not just because of during the pandemic, where people can get set up with an internet connection very easily without having to wait for your BT engineer to come around to hook you up. But at the same time, the technology in terms of infrastructure for 5G has also matured quite a lot. So you have more and more fixed wireless access service providers and providing internet connection without the need for a landline as such. And because of the flexibility of some of these portable routers, especially ones that are battery powered, it does give people a lot more freedom when it comes to where they want to work. And that's why stats that you see on screen now allows people the choice rather than before in the past where you're having to go into the office every day. And I think generally speaking, most companies are still allowing a certain amount of flexibility when it comes to working from home.
I think it's definitely working for a lot of people, isn't it? And I think just to add a little bit on with regards to that, the flexibility around the 4G, 5G devices has really been helped with unlimited data plans becoming so readily apparent and often cheaper than your fixed home broadband. Nowadays, you can pick up unlimited 5G data cards for under £20 a month, which is amazing value.
And then just as a very quick introduction on all the following slides is that you can see on screen, the type of accessories that we are introducing or have already introduced to the market is kind of supports some of the products that we have already out there when it comes to rechargeable routers. obviously need a charger. Hence why, you know, we're now providing GAN chargers, which not only allow you to charge the routers themselves, but also you know, your smartphones, your laptops. Most things are, you know, rechargeable now, also because of environmental reasons. And at the same time, power banks that allow you to add more life to your battery power router if you are out and about for longer periods, or if you're on holiday. And also later on, you'll see things like you know, assisted enclosures, which complements what some of our newer travel routers that does have multifunctional USB ports that allow you to share, store, backup stuff on the, you know, when you're wherever you are.
Yeah, I think what where we're going with this is similar to the home ecosystem we can provide for a network with regards to switches and routers. We can provide that that sort of ecosystem and on the go environment by pairing up numerous of the devices that we're going to look at today, and maybe one or two that we looked at in the previous webinar that we did on 4G, 5G, where there's going to be some applications for the devices that we talked about then, coming in and teaming up with these devices to produce something together. So if we move on to the first example, we are going to look at if we go back there, the on-the-go solutions we're going to look at. Phil mentioned a couple, power banks, GAN chargers, and then we have a travel router. We have another travel router on the way, which we won't talk about today because that's a little bit off into the future. And then for the working at home solutions, WAH or WFH, working from home, whichever you prefer, but we're going with working at home. We have a business router to look at. We have docking stations, a couple of docking stations, which are absolutely fantastic to look at. I've been using one myself for a while and very, very impressed with its performance. And then we've got a couple of SSD cases at the end. When we talk about the business router, we'll mention that in our next webinar, we've got a business router range, which the DBR560, no spoilers, but doesn't really form part of that. But in our next webinar, we'll go through these new business routers and the sort of SOHO, working at home, small office environment that they will very much flourish in. So if we start with regards to power banks, the first thing that you'll notice about these power banks is that they come in a different design to most that you see on the marketplace. A couple of the reviews that we've had of these devices mention how premium in nature they look, how clean they are, how well designed these units are, which really does give them a premium look and feel. The part at the top there is also a little display which tells you how much power you have left in the power bank, so you can easily see whether you can get a full charge on your phone or you need to power up your power bank yourself there. So
it also shows you if the device you connected to it is doing quick charge.
Quick charge, yes. There's a little green indicator that tells you whether you're connected on quick charge or not. So a couple of the advantages of power banks, we've touched on this kind of, I mean, a power bank, it does seem like a fairly simple device. You charge it up, you put it in your pocket, you put it in your laptop bag, and then you charge your phone, charge your Nintendo Switch, charge your whatever you've got on the go, whether you're working or playing there. So the choices are very much there for you. So it's just a very convenient way to keep all your devices powered up when you're on the go. And a couple of the videos we've done in the past are, if you turn up to an office and there's no ports available, there's no plugs available, a great device to have there. And in times of emergency, they can be very, very useful. Or situations, camping, traveling, where there's no other access to electricity. Most power banks will charge multiple devices at the same time. So both our models. Phil, do they both have free USB-Cs or?
No, one's got the 10,000 milliamp hour. The DPP 101 has one USB-A, one USB-C, and then the 20,000 milliamp hour DPP 201 has two USB-C
and one USB-A.
On top of that, also, it's not just the capacity of the power banks themselves. The larger the 20,000 milliamp hour version supports a lot higher power output on the USB-C and A, so they can support up to 65 watts per port. 65.
Well, that's 65 is enough to power
most laptops.
My laptop that's running this presentation, so you can see one of the devices. One of the great uses for it right there is but the smaller power bank will only do 18 watts, but that's more than enough to very much quick charge most of your devices, your headphones, your phone, your iPad, or whatever you've got.
As long as the device you're charging supports quick charge.
But it will still charge. It would just start slightly slower if it doesn't, but most modern day devices will support quick charge, right? And if we move into the example there, we talked through a couple of bits there. The DPP 101 will top up your iPhone 2.5 times. So in a small device like that, which, as you saw on the slide previously, is smaller than the average iPhone, it will actually charge that device 2.5 times, 1.5 times for an iPad mini or a Nintendo Switch, which is of utmost important, as my niece tells me, to make sure that her Nintendo Switch is always powered up. And the beauty of a power bank is that you can still play with the device while it's connected to the power bank and charging. So that's a good use there.
One of the slide previously with that, and you should maybe have picked up the little display. So the display when you don't activate it, you can't, it's hidden behind the silver casing at the top of the power bank. So once you activate it, you can see a very subtle white, I think a CD display in the back.
Yeah.
That shows you how much power you have left on the power banks themselves.
I did say that.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. That's all right. It's so important we say it twice.
It's nice.
And then we've got the DPP 201, which, as Phil mentioned, it's double the capacity as you'd expect. So it charges up an iPhone 5 times, 3 times for an iPad mini or a Nintendo Switch. These results are obviously based on lab tests, as the disclaimer says there, and sometimes heat and voltage conversion can affect those results. So if you're not quite seeing that, that's fully optimal, but we can guarantee you get very near to that. So to bring in Pawan here.
Yeah, so just quickly from a sales perspective. So as we said, great for people on the road. So I have some reseller partners I work with who deal with the blue light services. So your police force, fire brigade, ambulance service. So
keep them charged up.
Yeah, great solution for that type of customer if you deal with any of those customers. Yeah, great solution.
Yeah, even if it's just to keep their AirPods charged up so they can listen to music while they're working. But great parts here for business and useful for almost everyone. Right.
Should I add the last bit about the devices are designed to have full overcurrent, over voltage, overcharge, short circuit protection, and they do comply with the
airport.
ICAO regulations. So ICAO is International Civil Aviation Organization, so that the devices are safe to be. They are tested to be safe to be carried onto planes.
Yeah, just check with your airline, but these are verified to be within the boundaries.
Airplane safe.
Okay. GaN chargers, gallium nitride chargers. Phil is
nitride.
Gallium nitride. Sorry, let's see. I was just about to say Phil is the expert, and he's already corrected me. So that's a great start. But one of the beautiful things about all of these GAN chargers that you're seeing more and more on the marketplace is the compact nature. No matter how big the device is, no matter how much power these big bricks are outputting, they're very good size and very easy to transport. From the 4 that you models will see, the biggest of which is the DCP-241. Even that isn't a particularly big unit. It's slightly heavier than the others, but it's still a lot lighter than your average laptop charger. And the reason for that is that the GAN charger will convert electricity more efficiently. So it reduces waste, it doesn't get as hot, and can be often up to 3 times quicker than the standard charger.
They're also a lot smaller compared to what they were before, because
definitely
semiconductors used.
As the technology moves on, they get smaller and smaller and smaller, hence why we've come into the market now, because they're at a nature where they're very much portable. Probably not for your pocket, because they do have a little bit of heft to them, but great for a laptop bag. Phil mentioned on the power banks, but the GAN chargers are exactly the same, where they have all of the enhanced safety features that he mentioned previously for over voltage, over current, and bits along those lines. They're very versatile and can charge multiple devices at the same time, as we'll talk about when we look at each model in its own on its own for the next couple of slides. And eco-friendly, cost-effective. They don't cost very much to charge the GAN charger up to full capacity at all. And they support standards like USB PD, which we'll talk about a little bit more on in the next couple of slides as well, to go through in a little bit more depth. So this is the full range that you see there. So the 2 on the left hand side are the smaller versions. So you've got the DCPs on the left hand side. The 651 is 65 watts, the 101 is 100 watts, and then on the other side you have the DCF variants, and the DCF 141 is 140 volts, and the DCF is the largest one of all, weighing in at 240 volts. So quite a lot of power within the device there. So starting on the DCP-651 has its own USP in that it comes with 4 different charger pins.
Interchangeable.
Interchangeable, yes. So ideal device. I'm thinking I'm going to the airport, I'm going to Heathrow, I take my UK charger, and I'm shooting off to Australia for a couple of weeks. I take my UK charger, I can use that in Heathrow, make sure I'm fully charged up, and then when I land the other end in Australia, switch the pin out, put the Australian pin in, and I can charge 3 devices at the same time on with that one charger, which makes it quite a unique selling proposition within the marketplace there. So the device is 65 watts. It's got 3 USBs. 2 of them are USB-C, and 1 of them is USB-A. So you can charge 3 devices at the same time.
What's quite flexible about this is that a single USB-C port can charge up to 65 watts. So again, it's just more than adequate for most notebooks that can be charged from USB-C connectors.
Yeah, the USB-A port is slightly less than the USB-C port, though, isn't it? So
what's great about it is that the 65 watts can be used for one single port, as well as shared across the 3 different ports, depending on what you're charging.
Yeah, the DCP 101 unfortunately doesn't have the interchangeable changes, but it does have 1 extra USB slot. So it has 3 USB-Cs and 1 USB-A. So you can charge that 100 watts across 4 different devices, or as Phil said, if you only use 2 ports, you can charge your 65 watt laptop and probably still fast charge your smartphone with the remainder of the charge. This device is PD 3.0, and we'll talk about that on the next slide when we introduce PD 3.1. So, okay. So the DCF models, so these are the slightly higher spec and, as you could expect, slightly more expensive models here. So the 140 watt fast charger, the DCF 141, has PD 3.1 and quick charge 4.0. There's the main difference between that model and the DCP 101 is that added PD 3.1. It has the same number of USB-C ports, so 3 USB-Cs and 1 USB-A for the 4 devices. If I just get the pop-up to pop up here quickly, as just a quick advice there, PD 3.1 is SPR, which is standard power range, goes up to 100 watts, but PD 3.1 introduces EPR, which is extended power range that supports up to 240 watts. So both chargers on this page will be PD 3.1. And there's just a little bump about there why it's better. So obviously it supports faster charging for those gaming laptops, GPUs, reduced charging times, and also emerging tech that needs a little bit more charge, so getting up towards that 240 watts. So something like a VR headset or those portable monitors that you see a lot now. And basically the 3.1 charger, so the 240 watts, could charge a high-end MacBook Pro in under an hour, but you'll be seeing quite significantly more with the standard power range, the PD 3.0 devices. Let's pop that off. And as we said there, the DCF 241, 240 watts, fast charging 2 laptops. I mean, that's a bit of an understatement because, like I said, my laptop works perfectly fine on 65 watts. So you could probably do 3 if you were trying quite hard. But again, this one has 5 USB slots, so 4 USB-C ports and then 1 USB-A for 5 devices at the same time. And this one comes with a little desktop stand that will keep it upright because, as I said, this one is slightly bigger than the others, and it doesn't plug directly into the wall because this one comes with a power supply unit, so a power lead included.
Yeah, a 240 watt power brick as such is it's noticeable. So to plug that into the wall, I think might add some weight.
Would probably pull your socket off the wall. Yeah.
But as Alan says, I think for both of these heavyweights GaN chargers, the 240 watt charger, each you can charge 140 watts on 1 USB-C port, and then at the same time charge 70 watts on another USB-C port.
Wow.
As well as another 30 watts.
So that's the PD 3.1, which maxes out at 100. So that's why these ones are slightly higher end.
And I mean, I think probably from experience, they don't really warm up that much when you're actually charging that amount of power, which goes back to the technology gallium nitride, because they are so efficient. They don't waste electricity in terms of heat compared to the older generation, which makes them it makes them more energy efficient, more green, and safer.
Yeah, and easier to fit in your luggage than carrying around 6 or 7 different chargers for all of your kids' phones when you're going on a family holiday. Charge all your devices at the same time from one socket because you're in a busy WeWork and there's only one spare socket, but you can still charge 5 devices at the same time.
What's actually great is the direction that everything is now more universalized to be USB-C. So not just in terms of having a all-in-one charger. You are more likely to only have to carry the same cables, or you can use the same cable to charge multiple devices compared to before, where each manufacturer might have proprietary connectors.
Yeah,
which is great. It's very useful.
100%. Yeah. Pawan, anything from the business world here?
No, just to say I have one of these myself, so the DCF 101. Really, really useful when I'm traveling. I mean, I charge my laptop, personal phone, work phone,
Yeah.
my smartwatch, and pretty good speed as well. So yeah, definitely worth having.
Keeping connected. That's
it.
what we like to
That's
hear.
it.
That's what we like to hear. Travel router. So it's quite surprising that D-Link didn't have a travel router up till, well, basically now, because we were just receiving stock of these now. Travel routers have been around for a couple of years, and one of the main uses for these, and doing my own research on the topic, I was watching a YouTube video of a guy who was connecting up to his Starbucks Wi-Fi, and the guy was basically working in the data industry, so he had some quite sensitive data on his laptop, and he would never ever connect to the public Wi-Fi at Starbucks. But because he's got one of these travel router devices, and these travel router devices support VPNs, he was able to do that, and he was able to work from a comfortable environment while enjoying a latte, safe in the knowledge that his data was absolutely safe, because he was tunneling in by the VPN back to his office, and so that's one of the major things about these devices, is that they will give you that element of safety. One of the other examples that I watched was a couple with their children going on holiday. So they had a 4G dongle which they plugged into the side of the travel router to use the mobile data, and they shared that signal via the travel router with their children. The laptops, the smart TV that was in the room, and they connected back home to their UK Netflix account despite being abroad. So there's so many different connotations for a device like this. They didn't need the 4G dongle, but the Wi-Fi in the hotel was a little bit slow, and their 4G was quite significantly faster speed, so they went along that route with that. So one of the major advantage of this thing is providing you safety, providing you risk-free connections on public Wi-Fi networks, giving you extra access to home networks, to business networks while you're on holiday. And it's a very small device that can easily fit in your pocket or your bag. And if I skip on to the next slide there, because I've obviously started to talk about a few of the bits on this slide already. Micro SD card slot, which will allow you to plug in for file storage. So plug in an SD card, and you can share like you would with a USB drive in a normal router, and everyone on the network can access that data. So that's useful for a work environment where you can share files, or everybody can watch the same movie or a different movie at the same time. It's also Wi-Fi 6, so built. I keep saying Wi-Fi 6 is now current generation, whereas or are we saying Wi-Fi 7 is current generation? I'm a little bit lost as to where we are. I still think Wi-Fi 7 is maybe next generation because the adoption rate's a little bit low, but it's definitely got enough speed to provide.
So it's a fairly high performance wireless router.
Yeah, and I think as we said about in the example, this device will work very well with the DWM 222, DWM 222W, the white version we talked about in the last webinar, or even the D501 if you want to go 5G, which is featured on the picture here on the slide opposite. You can see the D501 is plugged into the travel router there. So it can either connect up to an existing broadband connection, a wireless connection, or plug your 4G, 5G device into the side of it, and it will take that and then broadcast a wireless network that everybody can connect to.
So I mean, just quickly highlight the Ethernet port on the device itself is also switching between WAN and LAN. So if you have a wired internet connection, you connect to that. You have basically a personal Wi-Fi hotspot with VPN capabilities.
Yep.
Or as Alan said, if you connect one of the more mobile 4G, 5G routers to it, the Ethernet port can be used as a LAN port to connect additional wired devices too. What's great is also, aside from just the micro USB slot, the USB-A port is multi-purpose. So aside from being able to connect the 4G, 5G dongle, you could also connect one of our SSD enclosures to provide shared storage for anyone connected to the device.
That's what we're saying. Ecosystem, everything works together.
Device is powered by USB-C, and guess what that means? Alan, go.
You can power it with a GAN charger or a power bank. Yeah. So yeah, this is as you're seeing here, the interconnectivity of the ecosystem of devices. Everything that we're presenting today works together, and
they all color match as well.
Yes, yeah, and that's quite important for some people, and that's quite important in a sea of greyish blobs. Like it's nice to see something that's slightly more designed or better. Moving into the dark blue background slides, that shows that we're moving from consumer to business. So I tried to separate the two, with the light blue being consumer and the dark blue being business. But the SOHO router is an interesting device because as we all know, SOHO stands for small office, home office. So and a lot of the bits that I'm kind of talking about here are uses for this device in a home environment. As we talked about at the start with regards to digital nomads, a lot of people were finding after COVID that their home router wasn't up to scratch. They kind of have taken their eye off the ball, and when we were asked to work from home, they suddenly realized that their home router couldn't support their kids watching Netflix. They couldn't support all of the devices, and couldn't stand up to the rigors and challenges of downloading large files from their work network, or even having issues uploading. And I think what's happened since then is quite a few ISPs have kind of stood up a little bit more and actually giving people better routers when they sign up for new contracts and things like that. But what I think we're seeing now when you sign up for a new ISP contract is that people are charging you an additional charge on top of your line rental to actually have a router. And it might be smart at this time, especially if you're working from home, if you're fully remote or just even a hybrid and you're at home 3 days a week, to look at something like our new SOHO router, because it has a few, because it's designed for businesses, it definitely has a few advantages over that unit that you would get from your ISP. So I'm going to read through everything that's on this slide, but just pick out, because we talked about VPNs on the last slide, and a business product is really going to have far more robust security options, far more firewalls, intrusion detection, and VPN support than your consumer grade router. Customizable features. I'll try that again, sorry. As we said, we mentioned VLANs, but quality of service, guest networks, prioritization of critical tasks, they're all going to be very much upgraded in terms of the options that you're offered on a business product as opposed to a consumer one. And these routers are also designed with scalability in mind. So this business product is going to handle quite a few more simultaneous connections from devices at the same time, because it is designed to work in a small office as well as a home office. So when the average person goes in, connects their iPad, connects their phone, connects their laptop, this device is designed to stand up to that a lot better than your average consumer router. Okay. Phil, do you want to jump in and go through a couple of the specs?
Yeah, so AX6000, I think even for
speedy,
even for the prosumers out there, it's a quite a high performance Wi-Fi 6 router on its own. In terms of scalability, like Alan mentioned, this unit is mesh ready, so that you could simply add additional units to create a mesh network to expand the coverage of the Wi-Fi, depending on your needs or depending on the size of your your home or small office. The VPN server capability allows you, again, ties together with what the DBR 330 earlier. This will create, this will basically allow you to have a server in which the DBR 330 can connect back into your home to have that secure connectivity without going through, being exposed to the public Wi-Fi. And then similarly to the DBR 330, the USB-C port on the device again provides you the option to have a fail-safe internet through one of the 4G, 5G dongles mentioned earlier. So again, you have that backup capability should your main internet fail. And of course,
2.5 gig WAN, Phil.
Yeah,
one of your favorites. One of your favorites, yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna have a dig with Alan on that one again, because I've got a gig internet at home already, and this will, I think, towards the end of this year when OpenReach opens up in my area. They are looking to provide.
No one wants to hear
higher than
super
that.
fast internet.
So the 2.5 gig WAN, it's as much as I want to say future-proof, the future is very, very near, for some of us anyway.
Yeah.
To fully utilize that internet speed, so that you're not bottlenecked in paying something that's already, that you're paying for, that you can't make the full use out of.
Poor Alan's still stuck on his 60.
Dial-up.
I am, but contrary to popular belief, I am not on dial-up, but just a little bit faster than dial-up. Yeah, so yeah, great device. As Phil mentioned about the mesh ready, you can mesh this with the DBR 560, but we do also have a range of smaller versions of this. So it's like this unit's little brother, like the X530P, which should be able to mesh with this product. They'll probably be slightly cheaper than buying two of these, but still provide the connection without probably providing the 2.5 gigabit port. So probably just have a gigabit port on these sort of mesh extenders. So unless you really need 2.5 gigs, at least you've got an option there to go either way. And D-Link will provide you with as many options as we can for the meshing of these products. So.
Lastly, just to mention the USB-C port, again similar to the DBR 330, can also can also be used for connecting storage devices such as the SSD enclosures for file sharing. Yeah.
So watch a movie in your lounge, finish the movie off in the bedroom before you go to sleep, or in the spare room, or wherever you like to be. Just continue or play music on any device around your house. So yeah, great device. It was sorely missed on a lot of modern routers, I have to say. Like I do miss that on some, and it's nice to see it back, especially USB-C as well, because sorry, Pawan, anything on SOHO from you?
No, just to say we can see the market's changing, and with more people now opting for fixed wireless access instead of traditional broadband. I think yes, it's a great product to put out there. Definitely opportunities.
I think there's I think there's definitely some connotations for companies there looking at outfitting their home workers with this kind of device, because it's just going to make their home workers more productive, more able, more quick to download fast files and large files and bits like that, unless you're stuck with terrible internet like Alan is. But hey ho, we move on. talking about moving on, docking stations. I mentioned earlier these docking stations. I take my favourites into these. I love these two docking stations that we've got. I've been lucky enough to have the Duff EO1. I've been testing it for quite a while at home, and I can confidently say that I'm not sure where my laptop charger is anymore, because I just use this for charge. I use this for connections, for HDMI. All of my USB-C and USB-A devices all connected to up at the same time. So if I do have a favorite device for today, it is 100% these either of these two docking stations. So when we're talking about docking stations, and this also does apply to like USB-C hubs, but what a docking station does is it takes kind of the USB-C hub to the next level. So a USB-C hub will often be 5 or 6 ports, but what we're talking about with these is we're talking about 9 and we're talking about 14
with charging capabilities.
With charging capabilities. So and those charging capabilities are built into the device, and it has its own USB adapter, whereas you can charge with our USB-C hubs, but you need to provide the power to the hub, which is where the difference comes in. And they're not entirely static, but they're designed to be more placed on a desk and kind of left there, although you can carry it around with you if you like. So that's why we love these, and we did some great videos where we showed just how much tidier these can make your desk while still charging up every device that you've got, which will be on our YouTube channel there for anybody interested in watching. So I think we've been for everything on the slide there, so I don't need to read through the bullet points, but feel free to. But I think we've covered everything on there. So let's have a quick look at the two models. Now this is where you see the difference in the two devices, and Phil and myself were still discovering the difference between the two devices about 10 minutes before the webinar was due to go live, because these products are very new in terms of the specification and all of the differences, even though we've been actually testing them out for a while now. So the Duff 901, as it pretends, is a 9-in-1 USB 4 docking station. So if you have USB 4 compatible devices, that would be the best one to go for there. Or the Duff EO1, or the DUF EO1, is a 14-in-1 Thunderbolt 4 docking station. So if Thunderbolt is more your bag, that could be the solution for you here.
So let me jump in. Both of them supports multiple display outputs. The 901 supports 2 additional monitors, whereas the E01 supports extra 3. Yep. You have an option between 8K and 4K resolutions throughout those display outputs, and they again they offer a wide range of choices between DisplayPort, HDMI, USB-C, or Thunderbolt to output the displays. Both devices, again, with the fairly large number of additional USB ports. Both of them supports up to 40 gigabits per second transfer through one of the ports. The remainder, most of them supports up to 10 gig. And with working together with devices such as the SSD enclosures, you can transfer files at tremendous speeds compared to what you might be used to before in the past. So when files are getting bigger because of the resolution of things that we work with nowadays, people don't want to really sit around waiting for a little while to fill up. These things literally transfer in a flash, gigabits in seconds. The EO1 does come with card readers and also audio jack for plugging in things like headphone sets.
And a magnetic stand.
Very nifty magnetic stand. I think both of them have the 901 has a the 2.5 gigabit Ethernet port, so that again you have that multi-gigabit connectivity.
Yeah.
The E01 I don't think comes with the Ethernet port, not for this variety.
It's a half a
oh no, it's got gigabit,
just a gigabit, yeah,
Ethernet.
yeah. And the 901 is also slightly higher spec when it comes to charging. And the 901 will charge up to 100 watts, whereas the E01 will charge at 60. So as I said earlier, just enough to charge and keep my laptop going, which is good enough for good enough for me. So it's a tough choice between the two, because both devices do have their ups and downs. And I think with something like this, you have to kind of look at, with the Duffy 01, it's slightly less power when it's charging, but it can support 3 displays. The Duff 901 is USB 4, can do slightly more, does have 2.5 gigabit connection, but it only supports dual displays. But they both do 8K up to 30 hertz, which is absolutely fantastic. If you've got an 8K screen, which, like my internet, is super slow, I don't have an 8K screen either. So, but I have tested the dual output in 4K, and it does look
I think it's only a matter of time before these things become more mainstream. I mean, just look at the TV industry or the monitor industry in general.
Bill's just trying to get us to spend more money. More money.
You can pick up 4K displays for relatively peanuts compared to even a few years ago.
Yeah.
And, both of these devices obviously work universally with Mac and Windows and even Android devices, Chromebooks and so on.
Yeah, just check the the Mac has a different way of working with regards to casting and screen connections.
More information is on
yeah, check online and to avoid any disappointment, because it's not a limitation of our devices. It's sometimes it's the way that even iOS or Macs work. So
even different Macs behave differently.
Yes, they do.
Design.
They do. So yeah. So just a pre-warning there. Pawan?
Yeah.
Go on before.
Just to follow on to Pawan, I think for someone like Pawan, who works off the notebook, off his notebook quite a lot, with a single cable, he is able to connect up to other things that he may be using around his desktop or additional displays. And when he's on the road, he just needs to disconnect that one single cable to not only unpower the device, but also disconnect everything at the same time without having to unplug so many different cables onto his laptop.
No, just want to add, I mean, if you have any customers, planning an office refresh on laptops, for example, this is a great add-on product to add to the quote. So yeah.
I mean, even for things like hot desk and stuff.
Absolutely.
Coming in with one single cable where they can connect everything.
The only problem is people will be trying to steal them because they look so good. I'll be chaining them down. But yeah, Pawan's right. I mean, if you're considering an office upgrade, talk to our sales team about taking these in, because great devices, they look really good, and from my own personal experience, I can testify to the fact that they do work very, very well and have great flexibility. So lastly, we've mentioned them a couple of times already, SSD cases. Because they are one of the major points that make the devices that we've talked about today so flexible. They work with the docking stations, they'll work with the business router, they'll work with the travel router, they pretty much work with everything. So the SSD cases is a great marketplace for us to get to tie this whole proposition into. And the whole idea of an SSD case, or an enclosure as it's sometimes known, is to take an internal SSD solid state drive, So whether you buy an internal SSD drive from Amazon, or if you've got an old laptop and it's beyond repair, but the SSD drive is still working fine, take it out of the laptop and put it into one of these SSD cases. And what they are is it's a very low cost way of adding a storage solution, which, as Phil mentioned earlier, is super fast.
Yeah, I mean, these things are becoming cheap, more and more affordable by the day.
Yes.
And because compared to even older SSDs, these M.2 SSDs come in, various sizes. They are still extremely small compared to what they were before. They come in two different types of system. Alan mentioned NVMe or slightly older standard SATA.
Yeah.
Our SSD enclosures support NVMe, but again flexible to support
all the different sizes.
All different sizes.
Yeah. Ideally, these devices aimed at things like gaming, content creation, just moving around big files. It's a great device. So let's move on to have a look at the two that we've got on offer. So the DSP-111. I'm not going to read all of the stuff underneath there, but the DSP-111 is available at the moment. It is the more entry level model of the two. It allows up to 10 gigabits of data transfer, which is super fast, not as fast as the 411, but still very fast. And you can put in up to 4 terabyte capacity. So I've got from my old laptop, I've got one of the very small SSDs, 2230, I think, off the top of my head. And then we also purchased for testing one of the larger ones. So I won't mention the brand, but a 7200 read and write speed internal SSD. Tested it out with both of them, and it's just absolute lightning on the pair. So there would have been a humorous video on the YouTube Shorts channel of me trying to eat a cheeseburger before we could copy 90 gig onto the SSD, but I was thoroughly thrashed by the SSD because it was that quick. And then moving on to the DSP-411. So the DSP-411 is the more premium one, with its from its alloy casing up to the fact that pairing up with, we were talking about 40 gigabit data transfer earlier with the DUF901. So this is the device that you need to get up to that 40 gig data transfer. It has double the capacity of the 111 with up to 8 terabytes that you can put in there. But the other advantage is the maglev fan. So if anybody knows these devices, they can get a little bit hot, especially in the higher capacities and faster data transfer. So in a device like that, like these, you need that little fan just to keep it down, keep it cool during those periods of intense work when the drive is having to work overtime there. So
let me add something quickly. So maybe compared to some other products out there, what D-Link offers slightly different on the DSP-111. It's completely fanless. We do ship the product with a thermal pad as well as a heatsink that will go onto the to support full length 2280 SSD. Yeah. As I mentioned already, anything 2 terabytes or above will get a little bit hotter when in usage. And that heatsink is something that not all other brands offer. But at the same time, also the cable that we would provide with the SSD is can support both USB-C and USB-A. So I do really appreciate that, because it's so easy to connect it to
because
if
like
you need to,
yeah, we talk about the world moving towards USB-C, but my TV is very much USB-A. So having that interchangeable device for both of these, USB-C or USB-A, that's absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
both devices are completely toolless installation. So
as we proved in our videos, yeah.
You can you don't need to get a screwdriver, and it's not fiddly at all. It's a little rubber grommet that allows you to attach to the end of the SSD, and it just pops right into the case and
yeah,
snap.
I think from opening the case, Phil had it installed and up and running in 29 seconds for our video previously. So it's very, very, very easy to do. And obviously with these things, that I liken these to unmanaged switches. There's no software. There isn't very much that can go wrong, as long as you just make sure that they're set up properly and fully closed within the enclosure. They are very, very simple plug and play devices, but having that sort of speed when you're copying files, when you're using, if you're using this, plugging this into your router and adding 2 terabits, 4 terabits of 8 terabits of storage to a network, it's an absolute game changer.
Backing up, I think, yeah, for backing up important data, whether for your home or for business,
yeah,
but having that kind of speed and that kind of capacity does really help. So yeah, you can easily back up a small business's servers or data, or yeah, and I think people do like to take things off premise during weekends or during evenings, just in case something goes wrong.
Yeah, and it's funny, isn't it? Because moving from megabytes and then gigabits, now we're in terabytes, and we're thinking, is 1 terabyte really enough, or is 2 terabytes, 4 terabytes? But as Phil said, the price of these the SSDs themselves are coming down, and it's good to see that happening. So great devices, well received, and like we said, one of the interconnectors in this sort of working at home, on the go sort of ecosystem that we've built up here at D-Link, and we brought to you in the webinar today. Anything on these from yourself, Pawan, for a business perspective?
Quite a lot. Just to start again, great add-on product for any customers, planning an office refresh. Always a good product to add to a quote.
Always, 100%. Yeah. The DSP 111 is out now, as I said, and the DSP 411 is coming soon. I 100% looking forward to testing that, and maybe one day I'll be able to afford getting hold of an 8 terabyte drive, because they're still about 350 to 400 pounds as we've looked, but they are coming down, and they will get more affordable as time goes on. So that's brought us to the end of the webinar there. I hope you enjoyed our quick tour. Wasn't too painful of the new products we've got coming. It's an exciting time for us here at D-Link, and we're very happy to be able to offer you these devices for our customer base, because obviously it's great for us, but it's also really good for you guys to add these on as add-on products. As Pawan's mentioned a couple of times, if you're doing a quote for 100 4G hotspots, as we talked about on the previous show, put some D-Link branded power banks in there, some GAN chargers to keep the power banks charged up, and then a couple of travel routers in case they need to connect to VPNs. So the whole system works together, and that's why we're here to answer any questions that you guys have. We do have a question that's just popped up. I'm not sure we're going to be able to answer that for you, Barnaby. I'm going to try Phil to see if Phil knows. Phil, why is the DSP 111 limited to 4 terabytes? We might have to consult with the product team over that one and get back to you.
It could be from the top of my head. I'm guessing it's the heat dissipation.
Yeah, I think anything more than 4 terabytes, we're probably going to
because I mean
fan.
on the 8 terabyte version there is active cooling, so
Yeah.
I would you know, take a guess it's due to the passive cooling on the DSP-111 that even with the heatsink may cause some overheating.
I'd certainly set that. If we find anything different, we'll let you guys know. So if there are any questions, if they haven't come up on the webinar today, or if you want to talk to Phil, myself, or Pawan, UKI-sales@dealing.com is the best email address, because that goes to everyone in the team and everyone can see that, and then we can make sure that question get answered. Obviously, if you just want to have a browse on the website, the new accessories, just head over to our website, eu.dealing.com. Don't be afraid to get in contact about anything, any additional information you need, data sheets, all that kind of stuff. We can obviously supply all of those for you. So we'll be back in a few weeks. As I mentioned, we should be doing a webinar on the new business routers, DBR 600p, DBR 700, for all of you customers out there interested in sort of small business installations. So with that, I will say thanks for listening, and we'll see you all again next time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.